there were a huge amount of manufacturers. There were not really designers per se. They were more like, what do you call them? Like designers, but they made clothes for people. They did not produce a collection.
And you're live on Dead Radio.
Welcome to another very special episode of Dead Radio with your boy Ini. And once again, we have a very special guest in the building reporting live from 138 SMUTS, the Dead Store. We're going to get into our guest's life story, extract the jewels for you guys to use in your everyday lives. And yeah, so without further ado.
My name is Lucilla Booyzen, and I am the CEO of the South African Fashion Week.
Incredible. I was so excited to speak to you. I guess we'll get into your journey. But the first question I want to ask you is, how do you feel right now, in this present moment?
Well, I feel completely inspired. I think what I see around me is incredible. I'm completely relaxed, and I'm ready for you.
I love that. How do I start this? To predict the future, right, we have to look into the past, right? And to know who Lucilla is today, we have to start your book at page 1, right? So tell us about Lucilla as a young girl. Were you an extrovert? Were you an introvert? Tell us about where you grew up.
Well, I grew up on a farm.
Okay.
I in Pretoria, on the eastern side of Pretoria. And I think I was not introverted nor extroverted.
Okay.
I loved sport. It was my life. That is what I did.
Okay.
At that point in time, if I could be Russian, I would have loved to have been Russian, because you know, those years, our perception was that the Russians, if you do a sport, you go and you do that sport. That is all you do all day.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do. So I from there went to college. I became a school teacher.
Okay.
I taught for 3 years, and then I was scouted as a model. And then I modeled for quite a few years. And then I started producing shows.
Okay.
So that is really my strength. My strength is, when it comes to fashion, it's the production, the sort of putting together of the event.
Okay. You're a curator.
I'm, you could say that
yeah.
I'm a curator. So the background of teaching gave me that sense, or the realization of the importance of education within any system. So if you don't have the right education or the right background, you can go up to a point and then you get stuck.
Ceiling.
So everything starts from education. And then I started producing shows. I've worked on 5 of the continents of the world. So I've done productions all over the world. And I knew that from the first time that I went overseas, that we will not have a fashion industry if we do not build our designers. If our industry is not designer-led, led by designers, we will never have a fashion industry, because a fashion industry in any country cannot be led by manufacturing. It has to be led by designers.
I love that. At this time when you're having this realization, what was the fashion scene in South Africa like at that time?
It was very different than now, but it was very amazing. So what happened is that there were a huge amount of manufacturers. There were not really designers per se. They were more like, what do you call them? Like designers, but they made clothes for people. They did not produce a collection.
So it
If you
wasn't
know what
about brands,
No,
it was just
no.
about...
It was about their brand, but it was about doing once-offs for people that want to do. So that they were not leading the consumer.
industry,
The consumer was leading them.
Okay.
So if you can see, so a girl would go or a man would go and say, I'm going to a wedding, I would like, or I'm doing this, or make me this garment. By the way, here's a picture from Vogue, can you copy it? Oh, you know, that sort of thing.
Yes.
But it was very strong, and there were many so-called designers. Of course, there were real designers, but they never, very few of them had stores when I started. The stores did develop, but it was very sort of like, of course, it was in the apartheid era.
Yeah, of course.
So you need to, you know, the landscape then. And I decided, it was incredible. The first time, as I said, the first time I went overseas, I went on what you call the fashion circus. So it was a buying, the people went on buying trips here. So they would go, the stores or the buyers for the manufacturers would go on a trip, and they'll go and they'll buy the samples so that they can bring it back, so that they can copy it, and they make their own collections based on what they bought.
Saw. Okay.
Exactly, or what they brought back because they bought the samples. So that was my first experience of world fashion. So we went to London, we went to Paris, we went to Italy, we went to France, we went to Germany. That was like the fashion train, so to speak, you know.
Okay.
So, and all the buyers used to do that sort of circuit. So when I got back, I really realized that that is what we needed in South Africa, is we needed a fashion week. Because those years, I went to those fashion weeks. But it was not right. It was not the right time. It was not, for me, the right, so to speak, era in South Africa. So I kept on doing my shows, and I did whatever I had to do. I was incredibly fortunate because I literally have worked all over in New York and Las Vegas and Paris, in Italy, in China, in all over I've worked. So I got all the information, I got all the knowledge, I linked with international people. I knew what South Africa had to look or project if they wanted to play on the world market.
The world stage.
Exactly.
Okay.
So then in 1997, I literally woke up in February, and it was like a light bulb moment where I realized that today I must start the Fashion Week. It was in 1979. And I went to my friend and I called her and I said to her, I'm going to do a Fashion Week this year. And she said to me, you mad, Lucilla? She said, nobody even in South Africa know what a Fashion Week is.
Exactly.
So at that stage, people didn't, of course, by that stage, we integrated a lot of various culture groups. It was absolutely incredible. And as you know, the fashion scene has always been, our fashion scene has always been non-racial.
Yeah.
So from the beginning, all those incredible models, you know, like Pat Malgus, all those people that you read about or see in Borna, we were all together. We were all working together. We all knew each other. Bubbles and, you know, all of them. Rose, they are absolutely incredible. They were our friends. So by that time, we had some black designers that were sort of starting. Of course, we had Sister Bucks. You know, all those designers were always there.
Yeah.
And then we started the Fashion Week. And the first Fashion Week I started in 1997, we had 17 designers. 17. So it was like nothing in compared to what we have at the moment.
Yeah.
At the moment, we have on our database over 600 designers in South Africa.
So in 27 years, right? No, 28 years this year.
Yeah.
it went from 17
Yeah.
to 600.
Well,
Yeah, on your database.
500 designers has showed at Fashion Week.
That's incredible. So
Yeah.
I want to zoom in on 1997,
Yes.
right? And so you have this idea, you've obviously gone to all the capitals of fashion in the world. You've taken in all the information, all the inspiration, and you come back and you're like, you know what? We're going to do SA Fashion Week. Tell us about that first show.
So that was in the Nelson Mandela Square, before it was the Nelson Mandela Square.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we built a marquee. We set up a marquee. And one of the biggest challenges was that in South Africa, we did not have the double-decker marquees that they were using internationally.
Yeah.
So that is where my farming experience come from. You see, everything you do doesn't matter, has got some influence on...
Everything compounds,
exactly,
right?
Exactly. So on the farm, and people, all the everybody that comes from farm will know that you get these big drums, and we used to call it 144-gallon drums, and the molasses for the cows came in that. So the cow feed, that came in that. So I said to the guy that was building this marquee, why don't we get these 44-gallon drums and we fill it with whatever, and then we put the marquees on top of that so that we could get the height.
Brilliant.
Because you needed the height in order, of course, for the lighting.
Yeah.
So it's very important. Lighting is one of the most important things in any fashion show or in any store for that matter. But in a fashion show, the lighting creates that international feel. Or shall I say, it's one of the elements that create that international feel, because the most important thing of a show is not the audience. It's the people that see it forever. So at Fashion Week, our reach is 500 million organic, and people don't even know about that. Yes, it's all value. 500 million. Last season was 500 million. So that is, to me, what is important. I also value the audience because, of course, that is what you need. But more important for the designers are their reach, because we want people to know about them.
Okay.
So yes, so then we started the Fashion Week, and at that point in time, I called all the shows, and we had like one makeup artist or two makeup artists backstage doing all the
everything.
Makeup. It was not, and we had like, so everybody that I trusted, that I brought with me, that is what they did. And they're still running with me, not doing the shows, but supporting. Do you
Community.
know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like, if I call them and say, come to the Fashion Week, they come. If they, so they really, I bring people with me. I try my utmost not to lose people.
I love
so
that.
I think that is really important. And yes, the first people absolutely loved it. They didn't quite know what it was going to be, because it was the first time that we had the raked seating and people had to sit quiet, and they didn't have to sort of, you were not supposed to sort of scream and shout and carry on. It was like, it was very serious. Because it's when the first girl comes out of any collection, it's like the stock exchange.
Yeah.
Because that garment is the stock exchange. It gets sold. That you sell it from the time it comes out there. It's a marketing exercise. Fashion Week is a marketing platform. Fashion Week is a digital marketing platform. That's it.
Okay.
And that's actually all it is. So it all depends on you as a designer. What is your collection? If you can take everything and you don't worry about what anybody says, the only thing that is important is you and your collection, and whether the media take that collection and run with it, and whether you can take that collection and turn it into money, and whether that collection is different than the other collections, more desirable, something that people can identify with, something that people want. Because if people don't want what you make, then better you think twice.
Then you have to go and rethink the whole
not
thing.
say I'm not good enough, I'm going to go away, but that is what your ego says. But for yourself, okay, what is it that they like? If I walk in here and I say I like that, and that is what market research is all about. What do you like? Why do you like it? What do you want me to change? What else would you like to see in the store? Do you know what I mean?
I hear that.
You have to do that market research all the time.
I get that. I love that you spoke about the fact that Fashion Week is a marketing platform.
Yes.
Because I feel like a lot of designers, brand owners believe that if I get the opportunity to go and showcase at SA Fashion Week, my brand, it's done, it's gone.
No.
So that, how should designers and brands be thinking about SA Fashion Week when they get the opportunity to showcase at something like that?
So number one, you can only showcase at the South African Fashion Week if you've got a store or if you sell online or if you're already in business. If you are not in business, you have to come through the competitions. You have to come through, and the most important thing for a designer is to get the spotlight, to get people to know about them. And people think that Fashion Week must translate into money. Fashion Week translates into awareness. Awareness turns into money. Not Fashion Week doesn't turn into money. So what happens is the more people that know, look at Coca-Cola for instance. They don't stop advertising.
They've been advertising
More.
literally.
So design, that's the misconception of Fashion Week. So Fashion Week, people think they show the first time and, they didn't really, they didn't get the front cover of the Sunday Times or whatever their expectation is. Because everybody has a different expectation of Fashion Week. That's another story. So if your expectation is that Fashion Week is going to sort of accelerate you into like this gone business, then that's a misconception. So you have to work incredibly hard to take that publicity, and you don't get the publicity the first time. You have to work hard maybe 3 times, because the first time the media think, who's this? Second time the media think, okay, he's here. Third time the media thinks, oh, well, he's done this. They've now, she's now done this. Let's look at this. And then they start taking you slowly. I mean, if you look at Tebe showed at Fashion Week for, I think, 4 seasons, maybe more, 5 seasons. And slowly, people got to see him. And you think that the international people don't look. They look at everything. They're not like us that just look here. They look at everything.
Okay.
So you have to realize that you have to build your brand, and it takes 10 years to build a brand. You're lucky the first few seasons because you hit it and you think, okay, I'm cool. And then all of a sudden there's a stop because you're not designing, you're resting. Do you know what I mean? You don't have that, what can I do new? What can I add to what I'm already doing? What can I take away and replace? What can I build on? How can I strengthen my social media? How can I make more people know about me? And when they want a sweatshirt, think dead. First, not last. Not, I want a new t-shirt, then go all the international labels that I will not name in my life.
Of course
not. And then
not.
you get to, okay, no, that you must be first in their minds. And how do you get first in their minds? By publicity. No other way. By creating that awareness.
And staying in people's faces.
Exactly. Taking that spotlight that Fashion Week has put on you and building on that spotlight. So that spotlight goes bigger and bigger and bigger. And if you look at people like, for instance, Sheldon, Efimol, all those designers that have showed, I mean, they Hangwani, Rubicon, they all are going, it takes a long time to build a business. We in South Africa want overnight.
Instant.
And if it's not instant, then you think, no, let me do something else. Because why? Because we can do so many things. Do you know that other people in other countries are not like we are? They are not.
That's true.
They come through a schooling system that has been dictated for them. They come from a culture fashion, they have to be better than the past. We don't have to be better than the past. We have to just tap into the past. That's all we have to do. And then we've got to find the right thing in the past that's authentic, original, from the heart, honest, and we got to bring that into the now so that we can predict the future. And then we have to do it sustainably every season like this.
The consistency.
Absolutely. New every time. You can't bring the same thing. You show your collection the same thing. By the time the second collection comes, you still have to have your basic, your signature, but you have to build on it. You have to understand what construction is about, what people would love. They want just a plain thing. They want it to be plain, and then they want something else from you that is slightly more design orientated, more construction, interesting construction. So you need to have a very fine balance between your, translating your collection into a ready-to-wear collection.
I love that. I love that. And as you're explaining these, I can pick up that you are actually a teacher, right? Like just how you spoke about on the first SA Fashion Week, how you tapped into you living into a farm and used that. Yeah. It sounds like you also tap into the fact that you are a teacher in the line of work that you do now, even with just disseminating the information of it takes 10 years to build a brand. And I mean, you've seen like brands come through, just like Tebe, Maklosa, who've showcased that SA Fashion.
Maklosa never showed a case at Fashion Week.
Oh, he didn't?
No.
Okay.
But I know of him. I know very well of him. But he went another route. So it doesn't. He is incredibly famous. He's doing incredibly well.
Yeah.
I absolutely love what he's doing. I know him and his team, and he's completely fabulous.
I love
But yeah,
that.
I can't take the credit for.
Okay. But a lot of brands have come through the vehicle of
Absolutely.
SA Fashion
Or
Week.
even the ripple effect.
Yeah, the ripple effect.
Yeah,
right?
because that is also very important.
Yes. Now, since you've seen and interacted with brands that are today a success, what do people who are starting brands or who have brands that are catching momentum, what do they need to focus on, right? Because it's great being creative and making amazing garments, but if you don't have your business in order, then your brand can't grow.
Yeah,
so
that's why.
What are some of those things people actually need to pay attention to when building a fashion brand?
I think you have to understand that it is like architecture. So you have to really build it. You cannot, it will not just come to you. So you have to have the knowledge of fashion in order to do fashion. So if you're a creative and you can create, you have fashion in your being, and you've studied something else. Let's say you've studied architecture or marketing or whatever. You have not studied fashion, and you start a brand. I would recommend that you go and you study fashion, like Palesa Mokobung did. Mancho, she showed at Fashion Week, and then she didn't study fashion,
yeah.
And then she went back and she studied fashion, and that changed everything. So she took her talent, that basic talent that she couldn't for some or other reason study at that point in time. She comes from a very creative family. So she took that, and then she went and she got the knowledge to carry her into another realm. And I think that is very important. And that doesn't mean necessarily that you've got to have formal training, but you've got to go and know about pattern cutting, about grading, about all those things. And if you don't know about it, and you, the creative, you've got to surround yourself with people that do know about it, so that they can help you where you come short. It's like a developer that gets an architect to build a building for him, but he has got the creative and he says, I want this building to be like that. But the the architect interprets that and then comes up with a design that it's very much like that.
I hear
and
that.
I find that the designers that are the success stories are the designers that understand the importance of that. Or the importance, for instance, ephemeral. Ephemeral, do you know ephemeral?
No, haven't heard of.
You are not serious.
Sorry.
I'm on the floor.
I'm so sorry.
You have to go and Google him.
Okay.
Today.
Okay.
Ephemeral. Ephemeral was a model. He did all my shows. He was the first black model for Diesel. He was the first black model for ID. You know ID magazine?
Yes, I know ID magazine.
He was the first black model that was taken by the world. Nobody even, he's this incredible man. Okay. Really, maybe I can introduce to Ephemeral. He is incredible. He's got a studio in town.
Okay.
So, I think it must have been in 2000, or maybe 2001, 2002. I called him in, Dion Chang, which worked with me at that. Do you know Dion Chang?
Yes, yes.
So Dion Chang and I called him in. Dion Chang and I were working together, and we said to him, Ephemeral, why don't you become a designer? Because you have everything. And at that point in time, we in the country needed role models. We didn't have one role model, not one. One that was funky and new and coming up with
fresh,
new, really incredible. So he said, okay, I'll become a designer. So he designed the thing, he came to show us, and he started showing, and about maybe 2 or 3 years, and I speak under correction, I brought out a French pattern cutter from France to come and teach the designers how to cut according to the right blocks. So because we didn't have the blocks, so they couldn't do the grading, they could do nothing because they could just cut like this. I mean, some of the designers, I once asked a designer how he's cutting. He says, oh, no, I just take the scissors and I just cut and then I sew. I mean, you
freehand,
you can't really do that. You know.
Playing on the world stage, you can't do that.
You cannot do that. Okay. So in any case, so he came out, and without any fashion education, he's got a marketing education. Without any fashion education, he did this course. And the lady that came out said to me that he is absolutely amazing. So can you see? So that, and you should actually interview.
Yeah, we actually need him on here.
Yeah, he is absolutely incredible. And he's also a wonderful human being. And he's funky, and he's young, and he's everything.
I love that.
You know, he's like really such a role model. So from there, he could then build on Ephemeral, on his brand, and show and change whatever he does menswear. Okay. So do you know what I mean? You need that fashion background to be sustainable in the sense, so that you can redesign, reinvent, because that is what you have to do as you go along. Okay.
Yeah, those are great, because we see brands come in, come out, and I'm always wondering, okay, what are those building blocks for someone to eventually get Tebe Magugu? You know,
and then you've got to combine that with business.
Yes.
How do you price? What's your wholesale? What's your retail? Who do you sell to? Where's my customer? Who buys from me? You know, there's a designer in Cape Town that says to me, if anybody, she's not interested in going overseas, she's not interested in going anywhere else. She says, I know exactly who my buyer is. I know exactly who comes. Like you need to know exactly who walks through that door in the store. And you need to manufacture for them. You need to know your client, and it doesn't matter. Then another thing is, I had a meeting with Big Blue many years ago when they started. I think they had 2 stores, and with the owners of Big Blue. And one thing that really struck me from that meeting was that I said to them, well, why don't you go to Cape Town? Why don't you go to Durban? They said they're not ready. They're going to go 37 kilometers radius. That's where they're going to open their business, so that they can have their finger on it until they've learned the business and then grow. But you see, we are taking it the other way around because we think fame is, people must now have a store here, give us something there, go overseas. The London African whatever fashion week calls and says, we want you there. They think, I've made it. Thank goodness, I've arrived.
Yeah.
I'm taking Europe by storm. You know, I've seen these lines so often. South African designers taking London or Paris, but much later for them.
Yeah.
They're taking the aeroplane by storm because they're running into the aeroplane. They are not taking the world by storm.
Yeah.
You know, you have to grow very slowly, very, very well, very long before you can actually get into that market. So when an international exhibition owner calls you and say to you, come and show, I mean, you spend an enormous amount of money because number one, you think, I'm really amazing. You know, I must have arrived. And then you start spending money to buy things, to make more things so that you can go there, so that you can show it and you can be what you think you should be. And then you arrive there, nobody looks at your clothes. And then you come back completely deflated. I've seen it. And some designers just stop. Excuse me, they don't even carry on. They're so deflated. Meantime, they're stars in their own country, and if they just allow themselves to be here, build their brands here, sell here, get to know their clients here, let's build South Africa. Let's not see how we can go to Paris and be there and build Paris.
I hear that.
You know?
I hear that. I love that because we come from a time where South Africans looked externally.
Exactly, yeah.
And now we're looking internally.
Yeah, not leaving that away.
Yeah, of course not, of course not.
Because we're clever. You have to play in that.
Yeah, in that world.
Yeah, you've got to, that soccer ball's got to come here.
I hear
you
that.
make this soccer ball right here and you play with your soccer ball that you've made the way you want it and the way, but never forgetting that because you want them to one day also come here and buy from, export from here. You not export yourself there, but export.
The clothes and the
Exactly.
brands.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And I'm happy that you tapped into or you spoke on the fame aspect, right? Especially in a time where Instagram runs everything, TikTok runs everything. That's why people feel like in a year, I should have the biggest brand.
Yeah.
But that's not how real life
No.
works.
No. And that's a pity. But, you know, I make a point, but I don't know if the penny always drops. You know, you have to say to a child, that's going to burn you. That's going to burn you. Don't touch it. Don't go there. It's going to burn you. It's going to burn you. And they only learn once they put their finger on there that it's burning.
Yeah.
So it's very much like that. You can actually say to a designer, so when I work with young, because, you know, we bring the designers into Fashion Week in our competitions. And I say to the designers that when they are a finalist in that competition, they are already in the top. They don't have to be a winner. Unfortunately, if you have a sponsor or you have somebody, they need a winner. In my mind, everybody that arrives, they don't believe me. They don't. It's like, don't touch it, you're going to burn yourself. They don't believe it when I tell them, from now on, you've made it here, up to the first steppy, you've made it. Now from there, you've got to build it. And if you look, you will see that only the designers that really understand that will build their brands and they will grow further than the winners. Because I always say that the head prefect of the school is not the one that makes it.
That's so true. And
it's the naughty boy.
That's true.
That makes it.
The one at the back of the class.
The one at the back of the class.
I love that.
You tell me about myself. Yeah.
I love that.
So there's no recipe.
There's no recipe.
The recipe is that you've got to make it, you've got to grow it, you've got to understand, you've got to realize, you've got to never stop working. You've never got to stop working day and night. These designers overseas work. They bring out 8 to 10 collections a year. different seasons. You know that.
Yeah.
So, you know, what do we do? Two collections. And then in between, a designer would say to me, oh, I'm pregnant, I can't do a collection this season. So, I mean, hello, how serious do you take this, something that you've now built for so many years? You know, you're pregnant, you do still your collection, you still do it, you still show, you work around it, you know.
You make it happen.
You make it happen. Everybody around you must make it happen because the brand must go on. The brand cannot lose out on one season of marketing. So some of the designers generate up to 29 million rands of publicity, one show. They don't understand it. They don't understand the power of that.
That's
I say to them, they say, well,
crazy.
but how do I'm not seeing the money.
And it's like, this is a platform.
It's a platform, yeah.
Oh.
So that perception must change.
Yeah,
And when a designer understands that, then you see the growth.
Then they grow.
I'm not saying that the South African Fashion Week is the only platform. Make no mistake.
Of course.
You don't have to show at the Fashion Week to be a success. I've never claimed that. But it really, really excels.
500 million views? Like,
yeah, it's not nothing.
those impressions are like,
Yeah.
that's 500 million.
It is 500 million. And it's not measured by me. It's measured by the Novus Group that measures the South African Fashion Week's values.
I love that. In 27 years of you running South African Fashion Week, have you seen a rise in quality in terms of us comparing ourselves with the global world?
Yes.
Like, are we getting better and better and better?
I think so.
Okay.
Absolutely. Especially for me, especially the streetwear. Especially because it's like the designers understand it. Do you know what I mean? They know it, they go it, they live it. And that is incredible. Our streetwear is unbelievable.
I love that.
And the workmanship of the streetwear, I think, because there are a lot of manufacturers that manufacture and make, like you say, Cape Town or Durban or wherever. And also, I think the designer crowd, the new designer crowd, is very sussed. So they've got connections, you know, and they go and they find those connections. And they know the quality because they know what they wear. And if you know what you wear, you know what your clients want. So the new generation of streetwear, I tell you now, streetwear is my wear. I like that sort of vibe.
I love that.
When you in streetwear, we don't have to stand back. We stand back when it comes to volume. You can't produce the volumes. So you can't compete on a world stage. But who wants to compete on a world stage if you can compete right in front of you?
Right here.
Yeah, in front of your store. The whole of South Africa walks past, drives past. Why do you want to now go to Paris to do what? To say, I've gone to Paris. To take Paris by storm.
As you said, they're taking the plane by storm.
Taking the plane by storm.
I love that. I wanted to ask you, because we spoke a little bit about it in the beginning, but I want to ask you about manufacturing, right? Or rather, the creative value chain when it comes to fashion. South Africa was like a really huge manufacturer with a lot of factories.
Yeah.
And obviously, a lot of those factories are gone. Also, globalization. The world makes its clothes in China, right? And that's obviously because of labor costs and such and such. What should South African brand owners be focusing on? Should we not care that the clothes are made here, or should we be focused on making clothes here? Like, should manufacturing factories come back, or is that a thing of the past? Should we not even be thinking of that?
No. You must never think like that.
Okay.
Nothing is in the past when it comes to creating jobs, because manufacturing is creating jobs. So it depends on how you feel and how you're selling and the strength of your business. I believe that it's a decision that each person must make for himself. And I believe that, number one, it is important to build manufacturing plants of manufacturing studios or manufacturers here in South Africa, because if we don't, we're far away from wherever we are.
The clothes are being made, yeah.
The clothes are being made. That is number two. Number two is, I don't really know. I mean, we had fantastic. You know, when I was a model, that was, the manufacturers were all over. They did amazing and beautiful things. We made fabric in South Africa for Versace and Armani.
Yes.
We actually
I've
made
heard
it.
these stories, and I'm always like,
I know.
what?
Yeah. We did. We made. Now we export the raw product of wool, and so that it can be from the beginning. Do the whole process internationally, and then if we want the wool, we've got to import it.
Then we have to buy it back.
All of that, yes, we have to buy it back. I don't want to go into that because it's linked to political things. So I don't want to go there. But just think about that. I did a research, a formal research with the Department of Arts and with the Department of Trade and Industry, which is now Trade, Industry and Sport or something like that. And they, the statistics showed that the annual turnover of the small designers in South Africa is over 800 million. Yeah.
800 million.
Per year, the annual turnover. So what is that? Number one, nobody knows about it. Number two, nobody is proud of it. Nobody talks about it. So it stays under the table. Hidden. It's completely hidden. It doesn't motivate anybody. It doesn't say to somebody, you're actually doing a good job. You small little person over there that is struggling to put food on your table, you actually doing a good job for South Africa. So in my opinion, I love it when there are lots of designers and they're all manufacturing their own little way, because that will in future grow to stronger manufacturers. Do you know what I mean? We can't just think about now. We have to think about the future. What is going to happen in the future? And it's designers, people, stores like this that will make it happen. You need to have the right clientele. You need to have a safe passage. You need the government to look after you. All they actually have to look after you is your safety.
Yeah.
That's actually all.
Yeah.
If they can just look after the education of your children, the hospital, if you have to go to hospital, the police service that can help you, then you will make a success because you have it in you. All the designers, I see them, I work with them, I know them. All they need is to be in a place where they can run their business without thinking, who's going to come in here and rob
break
me?
in, yeah, I get
Who's
that.
going to get to my children if I can't be there to look after them when they go to school? That's all we need. And I have huge trust in the young designers. I mean, they're incredible.
I love that.
They're all incredible, and you know, I absolutely have the most respect for our designers, because they've got resilience. It's not easy to do what they do. That is why I stand for them. That is why I go and I find sponsorship so that they can show. That is why I put everything on the line so that I can give them the spotlight that they need in order to feel that I'm actually doing something. Can you imagine if you don't have that, you know?
Yeah.
Or that you cannot bask in the ripple effect of that.
Yeah.
Because that ripple effect. I always say to somebody, it doesn't matter if you're not in the newspaper. Because the ripple effect of whoever is in the newspaper, if you say, I'm a South African designer, I've showed at Fashion Week, then already you are getting something. Or even if you just say, I'm a South African designer, they think, South Africa's got a Fashion Week. We value the Fashion Week. Okay, there you go. Do you know what I mean? It's that
I hear that.
Association that is very important.
I hear that. Before we started recording, I think one of the questions I asked you is your entire life fashion, and you were like, yes. I'm very interested in, how do you find new brands? Do you find them on Instagram? Do you listen to your friend? Like, do you have a community of people that tell you, hey, check out this brand? Or how do you check for new brands, new up-and-coming designers? Like, how do you stay in touch with what's happening on the ground?
I think that because it is what I live, what I am, what I stand for. I am continuously connected. It's like being connected to the internet.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't mind, or I don't hesitate to, if I see you in the street, I would probably say to you, whose clothes are those? Who made those? So I'm not shy to do that.
Okay.
I'm not shy to tell somebody they look beautiful, are their clothes South African designer. I'm not scared to do that. So, and I also look all over. I go into the store. So if there's a store that has more than one designer in, I go and I have a look and I see immediately the ones that have got design talent, because you must know that you can also have fashion talent, but you need to have that something, that's something that is different. Yeah. So I am always there. And then of course the Fashion Week team, they are there, they feedback, and the designers. So we are a lot of people working together to make this happen. So we do the new talent, of course. We are in contact with 24 colleges. I work with the colleges. We've been working with the colleges for, I think, 15 or more years. We do the student competition, so we already catch the students that we know, and we identify them, and then so we really build from the bottom up.
I love that. I love that. A lot of people who are going to be watching this, brand owners, fashion designers, are going to be thinking to themselves, how do I get to SA Fashion Week to showcase?
Yeah.
What are those boxes people need to check?
Yeah.
Because they're just going to watch this and be like, maybe I can, maybe I can't, but what are the actual concrete things or boxes people's brands need to check to be allowed to showcase at South African Fashion Week?
Well, I do think that it's important that they follow the rules. So there are certain requirements.
Yeah.
Shall I call it requirements? So the requirements are that you have to have your own store. You have to have an online store. You have to be in business for at least over 5 years. You have to know about the business of fashion, and you can't just today say, okay, I'm going to be a designer. Okay, tomorrow let me show at Fashion Week. It doesn't work like that. Nowhere in the world. So if you are a young designer that wants to build your business, and you're sure that is the direction you want to go in, because you must know it's not for sissies.
Yeah, of course.
So you have to be very sure that this is, actually, what you should think is, how can I contribute to the GDP of this country? That should be your first question. Then your second question is, do I want to have people? Do I want to create jobs? Can I use my talent to create jobs? What talent do I have? Oh, I've got fashion talent. Okay, this is what I want to do. I want to use my fashion talent to create jobs in South Africa. That's your line of thinking. Mm-hmm. Because if you focus on, it's like me. What did I want to do? I wanted to build the designers. That is my motivation, not I want to make money. It was not important to me. So that needs to be your line of thinking. And once you're there, you need to say, okay, what can I bring to this that is unique? What is the one story that I can bring? Now, I want to tell you something. I told you when I walked in here, I said to you, oh, no, where's that other?
He's in the office. Tabang.
Tabang.
Yeah.
He looks so fabulous. And he said to me, I look scared. I don't look scared. I'm not scared. So, but it was good that he asked me, because he opened the conversation. Yeah. I said to him, I was like inspired and taken back. And I want to tell you the thing that I've really noticed in your store is what is the most important thing in design. And that is to have one idea. You walk into there and there's one idea.
I understand.
And that is what designers don't understand. They don't understand that they need one idea. And from that idea, they can then do that, bring that in, bring that to this, bring this to this, bring this to this. But they need that one idea. It cannot be flowers and blocks and signage and color and print and skirts and jackets and looks like a fruit salad. You cannot have a fruit salad.
It's not focused design.
No, you need one story, one story. That story can change, but you need one story that you can interpret and translate into a jacket. So if you can make a jacket from here, you can make a skirt from here. You can make, if you keep this look and feel, you can make a hat, you can make a trench coat, you can make pants, you can make a blouse. You can take this and make a silk blouse because your look is so strong. It will still look the same. And that is the most important thing. If a designer can understand that it's like somebody said to me, a dear friend of mine said to me, he worked at the SABC and it was before I did the Fashion Week. And I said to him, what is important? You know, what was important, or what is important for if you want to be a TV announcer? What is, he said that you need to have a very strong look. And this is what I've done for myself. So I've never changed my look. Since I've done fashion, everybody, this is my look. This is what I stand for. So you have to stand for something. What can you stand for? You stand for doing this. I only wear black clothes. I sometimes put white with it, but I have a look.
Black.
I have a look. You need a look. People, a collection needs a look, a strong story, and then you can, each season, you have to go and find something. Remember what I said, that's authentic, honest, from your past, because you can't live somebody else's life for them. You can't take from your design soul and go Japan or France or, hey, I'm Italian.
It's not going to relate.
No, never. You can try. Never. It will not work. So you've got to go and find that something. And that something must be pure, must not be your mother or your aunt or your grandmother. It's not about a person. It is about a something that inspires you, that you can reinterpret, reinvent with your design soul, because that's what you have. You take it, you just put it in and you think, and then it will come to you. And whether it comes into a fabric design or a print or a line, a construction or a something, you have to take something to make something, you know, and then you've got to be true to that story, and that story is the story that you've got to run with. If you look at Magugu, you look at Matkoza, I mean, they all have very strong ephemeral. You know, you'll see a ephemeral, you'll see a Sheldon, a Kopman. You can also interview him. He's done, you know what he's done this season? He's gone completely natural. He worked only with silk. It's all organic silk. He's right here around the corner.
Okay.
He worked with a woman that does printing from everything she finds in the forest. So leaves and branches. You should see this collection.
That's amazing.
So do you know what I mean? That story is so strong that people grab it. They think, how amazing. Where did he get this from? Immediately, you in your mind even, you thinking, where did this come from? What am I doing? So can you see what I mean? You've got to have something in your collection. Doesn't matter what it is. Something small, doesn't have to be all over that.
I hear that. Yeah, because a lot of designers are everywhere but focused, and I love that you touched on that. 27 years doing this, your passion, your love, right? And the goal of making the designers lead the industry. Are you happy with the work that you've done in helping designers become the forefront of this industry? Like, do you sit back and look at the stuff that you've done and are you happy? Or are you one of those people who's never fully satisfied with the work that you do?
No, I think I do believe that I'm proud of what the South African Fashion Week has achieved. My thing is that we could have been streaks ahead if we had any government funding.
Of course. Of course.
because that stops us from showing more designers, doing more programs where we can teach designers. We've done a program called 21 Steps to Retail, where we've taken designers from all the universities, the top 5 designers from all the universities. They had to be motivated by the head of department. So it was not, they couldn't choose themselves. And then they had to have a motivation why this student is
Deserves
worthy
to be,
go. And it was linked to a big retailer, and they did a 3-month course with us. I put a syllabus together. I actually started writing a syllabus, and when I finished the syllabus, there were 21 modules, so I called it 21 Steps to Retail.
Okay.
So it was bridging that gap that is between the colleges and retail.
Retail, yeah.
And within the first week, the students, you're not a designer until you sell. The students said that they've learned more than what they've learned at the universities. So if we had more funding, that we could put more of these modules together so that we can actually build the knowledge behind design, we would have achieved more when it came to the business of the designers. So if you know what I mean.
I understand.
The designers, that 75% of the designers that came through that program is in business still. And I'm talking, I'm talking like 10 years down the line. So the thing is really that it is about education. It is about teaching the secrets of fashion. Because otherwise, it takes you 10 years to discover the secrets of fashion.
Yeah.
Where to manufacture, how to do, what fabrics to choose, which zips to put in. Because you start and you think, oh, well, a zip is a zip. A zip is not a zip. You have
there are different types of zips.
You have to find the right zip. You have to find the right buttons. You have to find the right manufacturer that understands you, can work with you. There's so many secrets in fashion that it takes a designer up to 10 years to learn the secrets. So what we can give them in 3 months that they can practice is really people that can share their secrets with them that you will never find, because nobody's going to tell you, not even if you do internship at a designer, he's going to tell you where he orders his buttons, or where he orders, what he does, what the shortcuts are. What are the shortcuts that he takes that can save you time? So that the funding to do the education has been completely lacking, So that is my only thing, is the Fashion Week is achieved with a little bit of corporate sponsorship that I've managed to pull in. Yeah. We've really achieved incredible worldwide recognition.
Of course.
Worldwide, I'm on a board of 37 countries in the world countries. So I'm in contact with all most of the African fashion weeks. We're all in contact with each other. But we could have gone, the designers could have grown more. Do you know what I mean? We could have done more if we had more money.
I get that.
And that is a pity for me that the government puts the money behind taking people overseas that come back and have not done nothing, that all that money has gone, and how many billions they've actually spent on that, instead of saying, okay, who can help us build here? Who can help us do so that we can get this bus going?
Yeah. Wow.
The fashion bus.
The fashion bus, of course.
The fashion bus.
The coolest bus.
The coolest fashion bus.
The
designers are really cool, you must know this.
Yeah.
They are incredible. And I could not, you can think, people say to me, how can you have done this for 28 years? Because everything is new. It's like everything is new. When those garments come out on that runway, if I sit, and I watch every single show, before those lights, before the music starts, I feel brittle. It feels as if I can go like this. I feel like the designers feel behind the stage.
Yeah.
Once the garments come out, I've seen, by the time the show is, I've seen every single designer clothes on a fitting. I know exactly what comes out. I see every single garment coming out there, and I have huge appreciation because every single garment that comes out there is unique. The first time that it's been seen, done by somebody in South Africa that is studied for 4 years, that's mothers run behind them saying, are you doing your homework? Are you doing this? Are you going to college? Don't take drugs, don't drink, don't do this, don't do this. So if you can think about everything behind that one garment that comes, 2 garments, 3 garments, this whole collection, and then the designer comes out and he takes a bow. I mean, tell me, who has that in South Africa? Nobody.
That's
just
true.
me.
That's so
just
true.
me. Believe how amazing is that?
That's
so why I can
true.
do it. 47 seasons. I've done 47 fashion weeks.
That's insane.
And it's a privilege, and it's a privilege for me. You know, I always say it's not me that's doing it. It's funny. It's like a force that's doing it, because how else?
You're just a vessel.
It's like, you know, it sounds really stupid, but it is really like that, because it's not like, it's the collective that's doing it. It's those designers that sit and think, okay, what's my next collection going to be? Then all that forms this energy, this enormous energy. You know, it's like when you look at an orchestra and everybody plays a different instrument, and then you think the path that they had to take, and their mothers and fathers take to bring, and their grandfathers had to bring them there, and that force, that electric force that comes, that's that.
I love that.
That's what I love being part of.
I love that.
Yeah.
Sitting here with you has poured so much into my cup. And as I'm talking to you, I can see your eyes literally light when you speak about the designers. And I just want to thank you for being you and doing the work that you have done. I think we should wind down this conversation. It's been my favorite conversation I've had, definitely today, definitely this month. But what's your last piece of advice to the designers out there, to the dreamers, the people who have the creative fire inside them, but unsure of what to do, how to step out into the world and make a name for themselves? What's your last piece of advice to them?
Well, I would say stay true to yourself, and don't let your dream just be a dream. Understand that you have to work 24/7 to make your dream come true.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
This has been amazing. I hope you enjoyed it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I was actually speaking to her the whole time.
Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll be back with another episode of Dead Radio.